Howdy, 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 and welcome to another very special episode of the Dirt Info Podcast. Carter, I mentioned a couple weeks ago we were in special season. We really are. We are graced by Alex Williamson again. I'm shocked he wanted to come back, to be completely honest. I figured after last time I'd never see him again, but he's here. Thanks for joining, Alex. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Well, just like we did last time, we're going to go ahead and just jump right into our very first segment. And
It's called Stylin and Profile.
thanks, Rick.
All
Carter,
right,
you look ready.
I don't think I did this one. I think I've only done two dome shirts, and I already forgot which two I did. Did I do
Oh
this one yet?
no,
Shepherd?
that one looks
Okay,
new.
perfect.
If you did, we're both cooked. So
This was the only long line I had to stand in. Almost missed hot laps to get this shirt. So all the other ones, if you went to like Pierce, Thornton, or Shepherd, you were waiting forever. But everyone else was a lot faster. Seemed like way smoother process.
yeah, I'm shocked. It's black, but it has pink on it.
No, it's
Yeah,
gray. It's a
it's
gray
gray.
color. Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
hard to
God,
tell
I
on the
see
camera.
sliding in the screens. All right, I still surprised by the pink. That's you're getting louder and louder with your
Well, I
choices.
had really no choice. This car had pink on it, so
You forced your hand. If you wanted to speech up stuff, you were leaving with it. Right on. Well, I'll go next and we'll save the best for last. But so this is my Bobby Pierce Christmas shirt. So I figure this is our last episode before Christmas. We're not putting an episode out next week on Christmas. So I wanted to be in the festive spirit. And I picked this one up at the Dome when I was there back in 2022. But funny story about this. So small funny story. So Sherry and I both have the same shirt. So every Black Friday, we we color coordinate a shirt. And this year, this was the shirt. We both wore our Bobby Pierce shirts Black Friday shopping. So last year was our last year we got tons of compliments. We did our Back to the Future shirts from Tyler Carpenter that are like bright green tie-dyed. Oh my God, we were showstoppers. But anyway, I've talked enough. Alex, I'll pitch it to you. We didn't pre-warn you about this, so you're just kind of
Um,
flying by the seat of your pants. But you can do a hat or a shirt, and you can tell a story or whatever's going
we'll
on.
do the hat. Performance Bodies hat. Been a proud dealer for them since 2019, I believe. So we sell a good majority of their parts. Seems like every single day I order something from them to sell to our customers. So um, just a little neat niche thing that I got rolling.
You got a lot of those though. Like
Yeah,
we covered it
we don't need
last
to talk about
time.
that.
Irons in
A
the
lot
fire,
of
my man.
irons in the fire.
Yeah, right on. But well, the dome went very well for you, and I think I could pepper you with a bunch of questions, but I'd rather just I think Carter and I and you probably would prefer. We'll just open it very generally. So you went to the dome. How'd that go?
Mm, it was very good.
I would
Very,
say
very
so.
respectable from last year. So last year we went, didn't know what to expect. Still would say hands down it is the coolest dirt race there is. I know a lot of people say that about the world, the dream, or this or that, whatever. I feel like the dome is just because there's nothing else like it. I just feel like it's on top of the rest. So, last year we were just happy to be there, and this year we tried to focus a little bit more on ourselves and soak a lot more of it in. But no, we had a really good time. Started with Wednesday. Actually, back up a little bit. It started the week before. We had got some big snowstorms. Like Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday the week before the dome. And for anybody that knows or follows my stuff, I plow snow. That's part of my business. One more iron in the fire.
One more.
Um, but on Saturday or Sunday, I don't remember, right before the dome, I plowed snow for 19 hours straight. And I was very, very frustrated because that was my time that I was supposed to be taking care of the race car and getting everything ready to go for the dome and whatever else. And it just got to be a lot. So I was really worried that we were even gonna make it. Thankfully, Kara had her shit together and had all the merch stuff lined up because I was not able to help one bit. I had an old pit guy come and help me get some stuff done the week before to make sure the car was ready, minus the stuff that I needed to do and whatever else. So um, it was pretty good that way. Once we got rolling Tuesday night, I remember Kara and I were at the shop till 1:30. It snowed like half to three quarters of an inch Tuesday night, so we left the shop here at like 1:30, and I went out and checked all my snow accounts because we have certain accounts that have to be done at 1 inch or whatever. So
Mhm.
I was out driving around until 2:30 in the morning, checking all these accounts, making sure I didn't have to plow. Because if I was gonna have to plow, I was doing that before I left. So by the time I got home and went to bed, it was like 3:30, and we woke up at 5:30 and drove down to the shop and hooked up the trailer and we left. Only forgot a couple things.
Nothing too
Our
major,
elect
I hope.
yeah, well, yeah, it was. Our electrical cord, we forgot that, so I had to stop at a Camping World and get one on the way.
Okay.
Um, we got somewhere in the middle of Illinois and the front diamond plate fell off the trailer and was trying to rip the like all the tin right off the trailer, and I'm like, this trip's starting off good. Great, it's gonna suck this whole weekend, but
Yeah.
um we got there. We made it. With
So
just a little bit
real
of time to
quick,
spare. Hmm.
that obviously you had to slow down. So did you pull off on the
Yeah,
highway? I mean, did you
yeah.
pull off on how long of a slowdown was this?
So, well, Camping World didn't take nothing, but it was only like an hour and a half after we left Camping World, and um, we went and got fuel. Well, this fuel station, I don't know what was going on. It took us an hour to pump one tank of fuel. I
Oh
was
man.
pissed. I'm like, we're on a time schedule as is, so we're going probably faster than we should be down the interstate, and I don't even know what happened with the trailer. I don't know if the air just got behind it and lifted the rivets out of it or whatever. It didn't matter. Um, so then I pulled over on an off ramp, and anybody that knows my racing operation, it's small. It's big, but it's small. I have a single car trailer, and the side door of my trailer, the latch is broke. I forgot all about it, and I was gonna buy one, so it was ready for the dome. Long story short, I forgot to do that, so I have to lock my side trailer door from the inside.
Huh.
Not a big deal, except for this week.
Yeah.
Um, we had merch stacked to the ceiling in my trailer. Like when you're in front of my race car, you could not put another thing in there. It was stacked to the ceiling. And I needed a drill, a rivet gun, and some rivets, and they were in front of all the merch. And I'm like, you have to be kidding me. So Karen and I definitely fought a little bit about this mess, but she's like, I don't know how you want me to get up there. I'm like, I'll show you. And I literally just jumped up and laid on top of all the merch. And she's like, what if you wreck anything? I said, I don't even care at this point. We just need to get there. So
Can't sell it if we
it
don't
worked.
get there.
Exactly. But no, I ended up getting it, and I drilled like 45 holes in the front of my trailer and riveted it all as good as I could. And I'm like, it'll get us there. I ain't really worried. So we ended up getting there with like 20 minutes to spare before we were supposed to park, which I couldn't believe it.
Uh,
Um, we got parked pretty much right away, and then we started doing our merch stuff. There was supposed to be two or three other people that were supposed to help. My dad was supposed to come with, and my old pit guy. But due to some family stuff going on, they weren't able to go. So Kara and I got to carry, mind you, trailer full of merch all the way up to our merch booth and set it up by ourselves, which
oh
anybody
wow.
that's done this stuff understands how much work it is for like four or five people. So for us to like, I was trying to get, my stuff done a little bit, and then she was trying to get hers done, and there was some issues with some vendor booths. So we got up there. We honestly didn't even have a booth. That was kind of a whole mess in itself. Cody and Emma do a very good job of trying to keep everything as crisp and as clean as they can for the show because of the amount of people. And um, some people around us just didn't follow directions. It is what it is. We weren't gonna raise the stink about it. Whatever. But we went up there and I got a hold of Tammy Gundaker and I'm like, Tammy, and she's like, what's up? And I said, you can't even see where our booth is supposed to be, and there was supposed to be two of us in there. And so it was a whole mess. We didn't get to set anything up on Wednesday night.
Okay.
So Thursday, Kara and I went out to eat Wednesday night. Actually went on a date to the steakhouse in the casino, which was much needed after the hell we went through that week.
Heck yeah.
Um, which is good. I mean, we don't really get to slow down very much, so it was very, very nice, very much needed. But we went to bed, woke up, and actually before we even got to bed, she got a phone call from Cody saying all these merch booths were like, you're not able to sell until we go through a meeting and whatever else. So Kara had to go to a meeting at 10:45 on Thursday morning, and they went through all this stuff and explained to people like you need to be within your boundaries, otherwise you're not selling, blah blah blah. So by the time she got out of the meeting, I think it had to be close to noon. So she didn't really get to start setting up her merch booth until noon,
I mean,
and they let people up there at 2 o'clock.
Yep.
yeah.
And the downfall is they only let people up there with vendor passes, and obviously me as a driver, I don't get a vendor pass.
Mm-hmm.
So she's trying to set up her whole merch booth by herself. We had, I don't know, 30 totes of just stuff, and it was a disaster. I got up there as soon as I could, and I was trying to help her, but I also had like tires and stuff I needed to cut and stuff because I didn't get
Mm-hmm.
to because of
The
the
snow
snow
and
over the weekend.
yeah.
Yeah, so I was way behind. I had, I needed to
Yeah.
put a new bushing in my pull bar. Should have been done in the shop, but I just didn't have time to get everything I needed to done before I left, and it seems like that's always the key with me. Like I'm always behind somewhere somehow. So I don't know. Long story short, we made it work.
So did she get it?
I would
Did she get everything up there? Did she
no,
manage to get everything up there? No.
no.
Decent amount at least.
She
Yeah.
get she got like 75% up there. We had all the totes up there, and she called me at like 1:45. She's like, "There's no way." She's like, "I can't do this." And I said, "Well, you just whatever you have room for, you have room for." And that's the thing too is our booth was, I don't remember how many. It was a couple feet smaller than it was last year, so we had less room than we did
Mm-hmm.
last year. We brought less merch, but it just we had too much for what we had.
Fair enough.
So she called me. She's like, "Hey, you need to bring a cart up here." And I said, "For what?" She's like, "You need to take a bunch of totes back down." And I'm like, "Are you serious? Like I have to carry these?" And at this time, all the people are in there, so I'm
Yeah.
trying to wheel this
Now we're
4-wheel
busy.
dolly cart through 1,000 people per fort, like square inch. It was so bad, and I'm like,
So,
whatever. So we did that, and then I got down and got some of my race car stuff done, and um, as soon as they started qualifying and stuff, I went up by her to make sure she was okay, and I helped her out as much as I could, and then I just went back and forth and watched the races, every now and then, and watched my people and whatever else. But
yeah.
that was our Friday night or
You,
Thursday night.
yeah. You know what's like I won't like totally spoil the ending, but my favorite part about this is I know the ending. Like we all know the
Hmm.
ending. Everyone watching
Yeah,
kind of knows the ending. And it just seems fitting, right? Sometimes that's
yeah,
just how this is just how it be. If it's good, if it's hard as hell to get to the thing, you're
yeah,
gonna crush it. It's just how it
yeah.
works. It's like God testing you or something, you know? Like, do you
I
really
don't know.
want it? Do you really want it? And if you just keep saying yes, 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 when you finally get there, man, it pays off. I'm kind of
Yeah,
like I can't wipe this stupid smile off my face because like I know in the moment you living through all this, it just sucks. I
yeah.
can picture me having
It
similar
was bad.
situations with Sherry, yeah. And then like, but it was just a test. I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't
we
know.
know now you crushed it, but it was just a
Yeah,
test.
I
That's
know. And
crazy.
that's the thing too, is I have some really close family members that have mentioned it over and over. Like, every time you get to the races, you're running 5 minutes behind. You don't have your shit ready. You don't have tires done, whatever else. Like that, them are the nights you go out and win. Them are the nights you go out and finish top five. And it seems to always be that way. I remember this year. I'm pretty sure the night at Fountain City I won, which is the first win in our BOM car. If I remember right, the motorhome broke down on the way to the racetrack. Literally had to unhook the motorhome, hook my pickup up, didn't have half my parts, didn't have half of anything that I needed, and I went out there and I'm pretty sure I won that night. And it just seems to work that way. I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but that was Kara's big thing. She's like, and I had a couple other family friends with us too, and I was buried in my phone. Like the night, Thursday night, Friday night, I was buried in my phone because we had snow at home, and the guys that I have running the snow stuff now are new this year. So it was a whole learning deal, and
Yeah.
I'm stressing and I'm nervous, and they're like, "I'm just gonna take your phone and throw it away," and I'm like, "That ain't gonna be a good deal." I said, "I'll leave here if I need to," And
Yeah, gotta make sure that's
Kara kept
taken care
telling
of.
me, yeah, it was
Yeah.
bad. Kara kept making sure. She's like, we only get to do this once a year. She's like, just obviously you have to take care of your stuff, but she's like, just try and do what you can. And I'm like, yeah, I know, obviously. And so then Thursday night we got home and or to the Airbnb and just slowed down a little bit and got up Friday. And the minute I got up Friday, I was ready to go. We went to I don't remember Wendy's, I think. Um, got some food. Um, went to the dome. I put a new pull bar bushing in my pull bar. I was talking to Mr. Weirs the day before, and I'm like, "Hey, I got some ideas. What do you think?" He's like, yeah, it's probably a good idea. So we were working on some stuff there, and um, got everything ready to go. Ran qualifying, and I come back in, and normally when I'm done qualifying, I come back in, and I just know that I struggle. Like we talked about this in the last podcast. Like I always struggle in qualifying. I don't know what it is. But I was watching the racetrack before I went up there and I seen it was kind of slippery. And I'm like, well, as long as they don't water the hell out of it, like I'm going to be all right. And I ran 2 laps and transponder apparently didn't work. It was the second transponder I already had for the weekend. So we went to the third transponder and
Mhm.
that one worked. So technically I got 4 laps for qualifying. Um, but I don't know. I put the car where I felt like the car needed to be, and I couldn't believe all the traction it had and got up off the corner really well. And I'm like, to me, the dome is very similar to like racing at Humboldt.
Yeah.
Um, you just got to get up off the corner. And if you can get up off the corner better than the guy next to you, you're probably going to be all right. And I could really drive the car in kind of wherever I want, and I could point it, and I could get up off the corner really, really well. And I'm like, okay, well, I come in for qualifying, and I had a smile on my face. I knew that, I didn't obviously figure we were up as high as we were, but I'm like, hey, I'm not 23rd this time. Like, I got a chance,
Yeah.
and um, yeah, I
Where
went in
did
the
you
heat
end up
race
qualifying? I can't remember. I
ninth,
can't
I think.
recall. Ninth. Okay.
Ninth, I believe.
Right on. So
Um,
I wanna stop you real quick and ask a quick
mhm.
a more general question. So that was you, I'm gonna give you shit. You cheated and got 4 laps the time in top 10, but that was your first 4 laps on sort of the reconfigured one. What did you think of
Yep.
the added banking?
I liked it a lot to a certain extent. So most guys probably didn't notice. I noticed because I'm a bottom feeder most days. Um, so to run the bottom was very, very difficult. Like the bottom was like flat. There was nothing there. So for you to slow down enough to stay in that flat spot and get up off the corner was pretty crazy to be able to do. It was really easy to like drive in and diamond and come across into the brown on the bottom because the banking like would get you going to get up off the bottom. um, but like you felt like you were just kind of like treading water on the bottom. Then you get up to the middle of the top where all the banking is, and it like just carried you. So that's why so much of the racing was up top all weekend long, is because most guys just couldn't get the bottom to work because that banking was gone.
Mhm.
So I really liked it. I feel like it made for better racing for sure, and the fact that they kept the bottom, I wouldn't say mudded up, but essentially, traction down there. I feel like it just made such good racing for anybody that could make that work, and that was the one thing going into qualifying. Like I had guys telling me, like, yeah, just go in there and blast her around the top, and blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, it don't work. Like I know better, I'm sure I could have, and I could have been fine, but I'm like, I'm just gonna do something different. So I just drove it in there nice and easy, and just kind of diamond the corner really well, and I don't know, my stuff just worked. There
Right.
was, you know.
Yeah.
So then we get
I
in
know.
that heat race, and I just couldn't believe the same deal. I couldn't believe that I could just run around the bottom and maintain where I was. Like I figured I was getting freight trained on the top, and but that was the one thing, is I didn't really screw up at all. Running around the bottom where the guys would drive in there and they'd make up like 5, 6 car lengths on me, and then they'd pile drive the fence and rip the deck out, and then they'd lose 12 spots, and like it was just
Yeah.
so much more consistent. So
Did you
Right on.
I don't
And
know.
then
you were on the bottom a lot, but did you notice like the wall, because they raised the wall a bit, did that change anything? Because I feel like it, like for the late models especially, they were like destroying stuff way more
Yeah.
than normal with the wall.
Yeah. Um, I guess I didn't notice it as much, probably because I didn't run up there very
Yeah.
much. But Cody did mention in his drivers meeting both nights that he is going to move the wall back next year, or the fence
Okay.
back. I think the wall's going to stay the same, but the fence is going to be back so that way it doesn't rip out all the decks. And if they do that, I feel like the top is going to be really, really dominant. So as long as he keeps the bottom like mud up or, like I said, tractioned up, I feel like it'll actually make really, really good racing. Like I will argue all day long. I would rather have it be wide open around the top than wide open around the bottom, because if it's wide open around the top, at least there's ability for sliders, and if somebody does screw up, you have a way to pass. Where if you're running nose to tail around the bottom and somebody screws up in front, all it's doing is bottling up the whole field. You don't like, if your nose is up underneath somebody, you can't just jump out of the line because you're going to wipe the guy out in front of you. So that's
Mhm.
the one good thing about running around the top versus the bottom that way. But I think overall it was way better, truthfully.
Okay. All
So
right. Yeah, I know. I noticed. Like you guys probably missed it. Troy Morris was being interviewed at one point, and he actually said the bottom had like negative banking, and I think you're kind of saying the same
yeah,
thing
I
almost.
agree.
Where it's
That's
just
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
If it
Okay,
was
that
wet down there, like you could drive in there and literally feel like you lose the right front. Like you could drive in there and it feels like you just weren't stopping until you got to the banking. But that's what I'm saying.
okay.
Like, if you could really slow yourself down, you could really make some headway. And I've been on some pretty flat racetracks before, and that's what it felt like. I mean, it really felt like there was negative banking until you got to the banking, and then it was like 40 degrees, and which is pretty crazy because
Okay.
for racing at the dome, you don't, with how small it is, you don't think about that. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I've been on some really small racetracks. I raced at Urbana, Missouri once, and I would say size comparison, they got to be almost identical. I mean, but I did really well there too, and it was like flat on the bottom. And I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of banking on the top there. I think the dome probably had more. So like I've raced on stuff like that before. So it was, but I don't know. I think it was way better track layout personally
Right on.
myself.
Cool.
I do.
Yeah, I love that insight because I mean I could tell watching it. I think from my perspective, it felt a little bit like the bottom. You really had to be dialed to hit the bottom. I mean,
Yes, you
obviously
did.
you figured it out early, but um, from a fan's perspective, it didn't seem like a lot of guys could manage to find that, and so
No.
we really did
No.
just get a lot of the top. But
Right.
for guys like you who could, you were able to drive forward almost the entire feature. So I
Yep.
think with a year under the belt, maybe some other people probably will be a little more expecting that, and we might be able to see it kind of come in and be two lanes because yeah, that was if I had one minor complaint, it was just like the top was so dominant because no one could figure out
Yep.
the bottom,
Yep.
and so give them time,
But
I guess. Give 'em time.
in the other aspect too, I feel like it's, you and I have talked about this before too. It's so much easier for anybody to just drive it in there and hold it to the floor on the top. It's
Mhm.
way easier to do. And when you're driving around the bottom, you have to drive the race car. And I think that's a lot of it too. Like you get into the dome and the adrenaline is so high, like it is hard to calm down in that place. You're racing in a pen basically, and it just, I don't know. So that was one thing for me, was just making sure I stayed calm so I could, hit my marks and run where I needed to run. And my one goal for the whole weekend was just make the show. It's all I wanted to do, was make the show and be able to walk out of that tunnel. That was all I was after.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get there because that was you nailed the tunnel. We'll talk about it
Yeah.
in a minute, but so Thursday, did you transfer out of the heat? I can't or
On
Friday. Did
Friday?
you transfer?
Yep.
Yeah, you
Yep.
did. Okay.
Third to
So
second in
transferred
the heat
in
race there.
right on.
Um,
Right on.
Had a good enough car, I feel like, to probably win the heat race, but I was just not going to push the issue. Leader was up top. I was bottom. Two or three times I drove right to his bumper, and it wasn't worth pressing the issue. I knew it was in the feature. That's all I cared about. So, um, got in the feature, and then in the feature I ran fifth. No, I ran fourth. They
See, I thought
took
you were
You were
fourth.
three.
fourth. Yeah, you were
Yeah.
one out
Yep.
of the transfer. Yep. Yep.
Yep. They took three. I was racing really hard with my buddy Carlos Amata. If it was anybody else, I probably would have dirtied him up to get in the show. Um, I literally, as soon as I got a car, hey, why don't you drive a little harder? Why don't you move that guy your way? And I'm like, no, there's way too much respect there. So
Yeah.
it's not how I race. So um, to be honest with you, I don't think I touched a car all weekend. I don't think my
I,
car made contact with another race car all weekend long.
or the wall or anything else. You left
Well, a little bit
basically.
there, a little bit there,
All right, I'm over
but it wasn't much though.
exaggerating.
But no, overall it was really good. Knew my car was good, but I was beating myself up Friday night after the feature. I'm like, God damn, so close. I'm like, me as the way I see things, like it's way easier to make a feature out of a heat race than it is a B main. You're racing 8 cars instead of 25.
Yeah.
And a feature on a prelim night, it's a hell of a lot easier to make it that way than on Saturday in the big show trying to run alphabet soup. So I was beating up myself up pretty hard, and then later on Friday night, I believe the lineups came out, and I seen I was on the front row next to Rodney, and I would say I probably have a million laps of Rodney in my lifetime. Obviously not that many, but Rodney is one of the very few drivers that I can trust to race side by side for 100 laps, and I know we're not going to touch. He's got more respect for me than probably a lot of people do, and I say vice versa. I mean, if I had to pick one person in the country to race hard side by side with, Rodney's probably going to be that guy. And Rodney and I were pitted just a few spots away from each other, and we've always gotten along really well. I've looked up to Rodney for a long time, but it just gave me sense of ease. I was very like, okay, as long as we don't race stupid, we're probably both in the race, and we went over and kind of joked about it a few times, and I'm like, hey, if we stay side by side, there's no way anybody's passing us. And he's like, yeah, and he just started smiling, and I'm like, yeah, he ain't gonna listen to that, but whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, it was good. We took the green in the B main on Saturday, and he got out to a good lead. He actually got a good jump on me on the start, and a lot better than I thought he was gonna. And I just tried to maintain. I watched on the jumbotron a little bit. It's so hard to pay attention in there to what's going on too, and that was part of the reason I struggled on Friday night in the feature was I didn't pay attention how many laps were left because I was going to start driving a little bit harder to try and make it in. But I'm like, I looked up at the board and there was two left. Damn. But no, I just kind of followed Rodney. I just rode around the bottom, and I seen he was up top, and I could, peek up at the jumbotron every now and then, and see that nobody was close enough that they were probably going to do anything stupid. And um, Blake Adams was behind me, and I raced with his dad Buzzy for quite a few years in the modified stuff in the Wissota world, and it was really cool to see us three go in. Now all from Minnesota, Wisconsin area, so.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It was pretty sweet. And then, you know, I literally went across the line and checkered flag, and I'm like, I guarantee I'm getting busted for deck height, or my spoiler's too tall, or
Oh.
fucking tires are the wrong color. I don't know. I'm like,
Just
there's no way
immediately,
I'm
why
gonna
did
make
I
this
show
show.
up? Yeah.
Yeah, I knew
Oh
there was
no.
gonna be something, and I'm like, whatever. So, I went through tech, and he gave me the go ahead, and I was jacked. I was excited. That was my whole goal, was just to make the show, and yeah, we as soon as I made the show, like, we didn't have anything planned. I didn't have a tunnel walk planned. I didn't have nothing planned because I'm like, I'm one of them guys where if I plan a victory lane speech, I don't win. If I
Yeah.
plan to make a show
Well,
and plan a driver intro, I'm not gonna make that.
Well, that's just back to what we were talking about before, right? You do better when there's no plan and you're
Yep.
flying by the seat of your pants to getting there by
Yep.
the skin of your teeth kind of thing. So it makes sense. Like I was gonna make a joke then, like if you're anything like me, that means the opposite's also true. If you
Yeah.
plan for success, it's gonna be the worst you've been
Yep.
all year.
Yep.
You're just gonna screw it up. So right on. So
So
we didn't have a
Kara
plan.
had Kara had ordered a Yeti costume because that was her thing. She's like, if you make it out, we're gonna have a Yeti thing. And I said, sounds good, but I had strict instructions. That little thing stayed in the box until we made the feature. Like, we're not bringing it out until we're in because I don't need no jinxing. And
Yeah.
we made it in, and my pit guy that was with, I'm like, hey, you want to walk out with the Yeti costume? And he just smiled ear to ear. He's like, hell yeah, I do. So then my buddy Josh Bolio does traction stands. He gave me a brand new banner. They jumped on board with us here at the end of the year, but now we are a dealer for traction stands. And he gave me this brand new, beautiful traction stands banner, and I'm like, guys, I don't even have a sign. Well, I don't got nothing to carry. And my pit guy's like, you got any ideas? I said, yeah, wait a minute. I got a brand new traction stands banner. I'll draw on the back of that thing for this week. So, my dad had a big dream for a long time. He was gonna. He actually bought out Corey Mater or Mark Bush at the time. Jesus Christmas, Mark Resch used to build super stock chassis up in like Eau Claire area, and my dad bought him out and was gonna build race cars, and it was gonna be called the Breeze. That was going to be the name of the super stock chassis and whatever else. And I went with him. We went and bought all their jig and whatever else. You know, I was probably, I don't know, 10 years old, 12 years old, whatever. And he always had a dream of making a Breeze chassis. So with the whole Iceman thing and the Yeti thing, and I'm like, it's just fitting that I make a sign that says it's a little breezy. So that's kind of where the logic came from there, you know, between the ice thing and my dad's deal. And it was just fitting. So I put that on the sign, and then we wanted to debut the Yeti. It wasn't even really a big thing. We weren't really gonna do it, and Kara's just like, you know, it's something different. Let's just try it. And um, so she bought this Yeti costume, and I told her, I said, I don't care what happens, but I said, you're walking out with me for the dome because it says probably going to be one of the most special moments of the racing career that I'll probably ever have. So, um, for her to go out with me, that was pretty cool. But that's something you'll never feel. I mean, it's crazy. It's you walk out of this tunnel full of smoke and into the stadium with 35,000 fans, and it's like this is like Daytona. I mean, this is something you don't do all the time, you know. And for me to make the 125,000 race earlier this year, I'm like, obviously that was the biggest mod race in history. And then uh, Cody released that the dome this year was the biggest in attendance they ever had, which is obviously record setting. And then it was the biggest viewing on Flow that they've ever had, which is also record setting. So to me, them are probably the two biggest races, mod races in the world. And I just sit down and I mean, obviously humble as can be, just so thankful that I was able to do that. Never in my life did I think was I'd even be in contention for either one of them. And we just got our stuff together, and we took a moment to take it all in and just focus on, we made it. Now we're just gonna go have fun and um stepped on the gas. I mean, I started on the top. I didn't want to be on the top, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go kind of ride around a little bit, and picked off 2 or 3 cars right away. And I found the opening on like lap 2 to get to the bottom, and I started picking cars off one lap at a time, and the bottom kind of burnt up. Um, like on a restart, you could definitely make some headway down there, but once the top got rolling, it was hard to keep up. Um, and that's the thing is I'm very good at technical racetracks, so I pay attention to that stuff a lot. It's crazy what you can learn when you're watching cars in front of you. Like, hey, if I hit this mark here, I can pick up a little bit, but I know if I miss it, this is how much I'm going to lose and whatnot. So, just got very lucky that I was on the bottom of most restarts and just paid attention and hit where I needed to hit and made sure that I was in the traction as much as I could be in the traction. And we had a restart with like 4 or 5 to go, and I went up top and actually picked a couple cars back off there. And I'm like, damn, I wish I would moved up 5 laps earlier because I think I could have made a run for the top 3. But I was kind of mad at myself for a while after that. But like I said, staying as humble as I could, I was just so thankful to just be there. Third in the big deal race this year was huge, and then just outside of a top 5 in the biggest televised mod race in world history is pretty unreal. So
Yeah.
when we were done after the races, I had a lot of good people come up and talk to me. Zach Vanderbeek texted me right away. Joe Duvall texted me right away. Both of them told me my car don't even look like it's been raced. They're like, I can't
Yeah.
believe you made it all weekend long and your stuff is clean. And they both gave me hats off for, just driving with my head and being respectful and driving the right way, really. Just not beating the shit out of my stuff and everybody else's. And everybody's like, oh, you got to put all brand new parts on to go to the dome. You got to do this. You got to have the top, whatever. And I'm like, I'm literally going to pull the wrap off my car and rewrap the same quarter panels to go race next year because they're all in good shape.
Well,
So
that makes
a
me
couple deck
sad. You
greases need. No, it's gonna be the same thing. We just got new sponsors.
okay? Okay. Okay.
It's gonna be the same. That's the thing for next year. We're gonna do something very very similar in the wrap, but
Okay.
we have some sponsors we're gonna update, and then some that we're gonna move on from. So,
Fair enough. I didn't mean to
but
put you on the
yeah,
spot
no,
about that, but I'm
no,
a
it's
big
good.
fan of the wrap. It looks so good. And
Yes,
you're the only dude who can reuse his wrap from the dome. The only guy.
you know, no, it looks very good. I hate white, so me being the business
Oh,
owner I am, I don't get much free
fair,
time, so there ain't a lot of time to wash the race car. So that's always
fair
been
enough.
my thing. I hate white for that reason. But no, I think we're gonna give her a whirl. Kara's got some tricks up her sleeve. She's been doing all the designing and stuff, so she's been killing it. But anyways, no, I had a lot of positive insight. Chad Weirs came down to my trailer as soon as I was down, and he was, if St. Louis didn't know who the Iceman was before, they definitely do now. And I'm like, I appreciate that, pal. And Chad's been a big, big supporter of my deal since I don't know, probably 2012, 2013, but just always been, if anybody's ever talked to Chad, he's one of the most humble guys in dirt racing in general, even blacktop racing, I suppose. But you don't even hardly see Chad smile very often. He just, he's very humble, takes everything in. And so to hear things like that from Chad and Vanderbeek, I've looked up to him forever. Joe Duvall, it's pretty crazy. You just sit back and think about that stuff, and it's just like, you don't expect that, and it just means the world when people like that come forward and mention, what they're paying attention to. And just made me feel that much better. So, yeah, we
Heck yeah.
got in trouble after the dome because we were told that we could bring fuel jugs back in to load into our trailer to leave, and then the fire marshals were there, and then we were in a whole shit pile of trouble there. So, we lost a phone in the trailer, so we
Oh,
loaded all the merch in the trailer. And one of the guys that was helping me had his phone in the trailer, and I don't know if I moved it or who did, whatever, it doesn't matter. Had to literally take all the merch back out of the trailer
oh no.
again to find this phone that was in the bottom tote of the merch.
Of course it
And I'm
was.
just like, yeah. So, no, it was good. I was glad to get out of there. And then just had a long ride home on Sunday, and I literally got home, and I wasn't even home 10 minutes, and I jumped in the plow truck and started plowing snow.
No rest for the
It was
wicked,
a,
huh, my friend?
no, it was a very wicked week. I don't know, like, not prepared by any
Yeah.
means. I
Except for one
literally,
thing. I
what?
think you were mentally prepared. I think you were
No,
mentally prepared. I
no,
think you were. I'm gonna argue
no.
you were. I
I
think
think
the
I was just
results
so tired that
uh,
it looked like it.
I mean, maybe.
I
Maybe that's what it
I
takes.
don't
You
think it
just were
was.
so exhausted you became
I
mentally
I
prepared.
I was. Like, we went to the bed every night, when we were down there at, like, I don't know, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's not like we were up late partying or nothing. Like, we get back from the races and we'd all eat and stuff and, sit down and have one beer maybe just to relax a little bit. And by the time it's midnight, 12, 1:30, whatever. And I'm like, and my alarm was set for 6:30 every morning because it was supposed to snow every single day that we were down there. So I was trying to make sure the snow stuff was taken care of. And it was a lot. But
Yeah.
I got home and obviously worked all week and didn't really get a whole lot of sleep. So Friday night, I went to bed at 9 p.m. and slept till 9 a.m. And Kara was like, "You feel better?" And I said, "This is the first time I've been caught up on sleep in like 3 weeks."
Yeah.
I'm
I was
like,
gonna
"This is
ask,
great."
was it one of those ones where you slept so much you woke up tired again? Like, oh no, how do I manage to
Yeah.
oversleep?
Well, she's like, "Did you hear me get up like 4 times?" I'm like, "No." So I hear nothing. I was tired. I was out. But
Best end of the world.
I
Right
don't
on.
know. Dome 2025, hands down, one of the coolest things ever. Struggled, like I said, because of not having the help when we got there, and Kara and I probably agreed that if it was just her and I again, I don't think we could do it. Just a lot of stress mentally, and
Mhm.
with the time that we were given to do our stuff, with the booth issues, it was a lot. So next year we're gonna make sure we're gonna try and be a little bit more prepared. Got to spend a little bit of quality time with Emma, which was kind of nice. I haven't really got to talk to Emma or Cody very much until this year. Still haven't really talked to Cody a whole lot, but Emma is a very big sweetheart. Um, she was going above and beyond to make sure we were taken care of after that whole mess. So um, it just the race that them guys have put on. I've texted Emma. I've texted Tammy Gundaker. I've tried to send a message to Cody. What they have done with that race in the last 10 years, 8 years, however long they've been
I
doing it,
think
is
this is the
just
ninth
unreal.
annual.
Yeah,
Yep.
just unreal what they have done. The first year or two, I watched on TV, thought it was dumb as hell, just like everybody else. I'm like, this is kind of stupid, and it was rough, and they had the tires in the infield, and like so many cars couldn't make 2 laps because of infield tractor tires don't belong on racetracks, and that whole deal. But it's crazy to see what they have taken and built something out of. I'm sure a lot of the dirt world probably didn't even hardly know Cody Summer before this all started, but what he has done and built is just unbelievable. What they do. You just think about it, even as a driver aspect. When are you ever gonna get to like show off your brand to 35,000 people? And when are you ever going to have a merch booth and have all 35,000 people walking past your booth every single day? Like that's stuff that doesn't happen in the normal racing world. And I think that's why the dome is so cool and sets it apart from everything else. Is just the only thing I can think of that's remotely close is like Super Nationals with all the cars, all the people. But I still feel like the dome is just so big and different in its own way. And I feel like nothing will ever be able to touch that because like it is different. It set the bar for everything else, and it's no secret that every year that they go in there, they just keep raising it over and over and over. And I've went for the last 5 years probably, and I can tell you right now, I won't miss it. I mean, you could catch me on my deathbed, and I'm going to the dome. I don't care. And these people that sit and talk about this dome flu, I don't know. I've never had it. I don't know if it's something you guys are drinking or the after parties you guys are going to or what, but I don't know. I never had any issue, but I don't know. Just very, 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 very thankful.
Heck yeah.
Just to be a
And
part of something like that is unreal.
so I'm going to turn that around and say to you, on behalf of Carter and I, we're also thankful that you allowed us to sort of jump on with you and ride along to, I think you didn't say it because it stings it wasn't a top 5, but it was sixth. Alex finished sixth at the freaking dome, yo,
Yep.
and he left
Yep.
with the car in the same condition he showed up in, which should get its own separate trophy.
Yep.
That should be its own best leaving car. We would have won that going away. Best
Yep.
appearing they have, but how about best leaving? Because we crushed that. So, but I just want to
Yep.
say, I appreciate you allowing us to jump on the side with you and ride along and let us be a little bit of a part of it. It was pretty cool to watch. I don't. Most everyone knows the meme, but from Wolf of Wall Street where he's sitting there and he sees himself on TV and he's like the gift that he does. So anyway, that's
Yep.
me every time I see your
Yeah.
car with I'm like there it is on TV. So I appreciate very much that we got to ride along and it's super awesome that you crushed it, which just I don't know. I mean, I watched you like a hawk, obviously. That's what I
Yep.
do. Same thing when I was at races with Ashley. I didn't realize there were other people in the car other than just Ashley Boy. I'm just going around. Oh, there was other people, huh? But it was the same thing when you were on the track.
That's awesome.
And it's it was cool to watch you just it seemed like you went in with a game plan. I don't know if the track gave you that or if it was just, kind of how the cards rolled, or you were just too damn exhausted to run the top and so you made the best with what you had or whatever it was. But you definitely um you were on I'll say this, I was watching, you were on TV all the time. That's the beauty of running in the top 5, top 3 the whole race, is you're on TV. They might not have said a lot about you because you weren't throwing sparklers and snakes off the fence, or
Weren't ripping the banners
plowing in
down.
yeah,
Yeah, no
ripping the
kidding.
banners
No
down,
kidding.
or tearing the left front off because you don't know how to run the bottom or anything, right? You were there the whole time. They couldn't deny you were there the whole time, and I think that makes that makes it pretty cool, especially knowing that we were a small little part of that. So I
Sure.
appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys jumping on board. Yeah, I mean, when I sit back and probably think about the whole dome week, the only game plan I feel like I had going into it was just go there with a level head and knowing what I have. There's a lot of guys that engineer the wheel every single time they go to the racetrack, and I'm not one of them guys. A lot of times I go to the racetrack and I'll race 5 different style racetracks in 2 or 3 weeks, and my stuff don't hardly change. I'll change how I drive it, but most of the time my car is pretty neutral to wherever we go, and that's something I've built on, and I think that's helped with obviously running USMTS and running all over the country. Is I think if you put me on a fair playing field at any given neutral racetrack, and I'm usually one of the top contenders because my car is so neutral no matter where I go. I'm not having to change a bunch of stuff after hot laps and qualifying. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Mhm.
just kind of change what I do, and I feel like it helps so much. So I was actually talking to my chassis builder a little bit when we got to the dome. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna change, these 3 things or whatever." And I looked at him and said, "I'm gonna go have a beer and a hot dog." And I said, "I'll see you later." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "I ain't changing a goddamn thing." He said, "Why not?" I said, "I don't, I'm comfortable with what I got." So I said, "I'm gonna go out there and qualify with what I got, and I'll kind of work from there if I need to." But I will be the first person to admit I did not touch my car with a wrench since I got to the dome. I couldn't believe it. I didn't adjust anything. Fuel was all that got changed in my car the whole time I was there. And I don't know, my car
Yeah.
was just balanced really well. And I think that was like so much of the bottom feeding stuff was sure I could have went up top and probably ran better and tore my shit up, but I just didn't have to. I didn't need to go
Mhm.
beat everything out of the race car to try and get to where I needed to be. I knew as long as I was patient and just used my head a little bit, I was going to be fine. So I don't know. This car's been very balanced and it fits me so well. You know, I've driven a lot of stuff in the past and I felt like it was always good at one point and not good at others and whatever else. And I just feel like this car I can maneuver a lot better. So I feel like it's a lot more forgiving, but um, I don't know. Just not having to search around all the time is kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie.
I can appreciate that. I'll be arrogant on your behalf. I believe, gentlemen, that's called being a race car driver. When you can just take your car and drive it differently and make it work on all different things. That's called
Stay
being a
humble,
race car
hey.
driver. Yeah.
Stay
Yeah.
humble.
I knew you wouldn't say it, but I was gonna say it. But no. And it's interesting hearing you say that, because I can kind of think back, and the last handful of times I've seen you over the end of the year, you really could put the car anywhere. If you were at
Yep.
Ogilvy and the top was good, you could throw up there. I also watched you run the bottom at Ogilvy in the
Yep.
125K race. And so, like,
Yep.
it, it, I mean, just as from the fans' perspective, I can echo kind of what you're saying. Like, having seen you race so much over the back end of the season, you really were
Sure.
always able to just put it wherever you wanted. And I guess that shines some light now. It's just
Yep.
you got a nice neutral sort of like baseline, and you just drive the hell out of it from there, and you can do whatever you need
Yep.
to do with it. I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't know. That was one of the big things too about the 125K race. If I remember right, I was one of the few cars that could run the bottom that night. Almost everybody was up on the top, and it was definitely rough, which is not normal for Ogilvy, but there was some character in the racetrack, and most guys just couldn't make the bottom work like I could, and I feel like that's probably where I exceeded a little bit that night too. So I don't know. Everybody's so dependent and stuck on bump stops and trying to get their car in the racetrack as hard as it can be, and And I feel like sometimes, like every time I try to do that, I just hurt myself anytime you get any little bit of technicality in the racetrack. So um, I just felt like I'm so neutral with everything right now. I feel like I can go anywhere in the country and at least compete. Where before it was like one night you go in and compete, and the next night you're like 25th in a B main and you didn't change anything. And I'm like, man, this thing sucks, and it's been that way with everything. It's not any one certain car. It's just my whole life, everything I've driven has been, good in the heavier, good in the slick. There's never been an in between, and I feel like, and I'm sure a lot of it now is just technology, and in my knowledge, I've done this for long enough that I understand when you can and can't get away with some things, as far as setup stuff, and so now that I've done it for so long and seen so many different racetracks, I just feel like it's so much easier, I would say, to kind of maneuver from that heavy to a slick racetrack and figure out what works for both and how you can just drive it differently and make it work, and I think that's obviously one of the hidden talents that I've got. So I very, very fortunate.
Yeah. Well, I just I by the way, he hasn't said it yet, but Alex does have the bomb by 15W chassis that he does. So if you'd like to also have a nice balanced car, get with Alex. He can help you out.
We
Sorry.
got a couple sold. I got a B mod sold. I should be having that here in the next couple of weeks, and then got another modified coming after that. So we're gonna be busy until probably end of February, early March, but then race season will be here, and I'm sure we'll be wide open again. So
Yeah.
that's all
Well,
right.
that actually that's a great segue. So I know when you and I chatted last time, it was kind of a little bit early in the season to know next year's plans. I think it's probably still a little bit too early, but there's been some new information that's come out since we've talked last. I noticed that there was the Ironman B mods thing, and you just mentioned you're kind of doing the bomb by 15 dub for the B mods too. So I wonder if that doesn't catch your interest. And then we did get the USMTS schedule. This Carter's eyes just lit up. He's got a question for you. He wants to ask so bad when we get there. but with some of the new information, I don't expect you to hold you down on any answer you give us now. But anything out, any new information and series schedules come out, give you pique your interest? Anything you're looking at, maybe doing different or the same based on new information?
Um, yes and no. I shared Winneshiek Raceway's schedule the other day. So Zach Current is the promoter of Winneshiek Raceway. Good buddy of mine. He has gotten a hold of me a few times, and we're actually doing a parts deal. So we're giving away some parts, and he's doing some drawing stuff, which he's doing a lot to give back to the racers, and I give him credit. And he's got modifieds on the schedule twice. Once for the Fair Night, which is actually my favorite race at Decorah, and then they do have a USMTS race. So I pretty much guarantee I'll be at those 2 nights for sure. Like I said, Decorah is one of my favorite tracks, only like 45 minutes away from my parents' house, like an hour and 15 from my shop. But no,
Can I tell you a story about Winneshiek real quick?
sure.
That is the track that spawned Dirt Info. No joke.
Oh yeah,
That's the track.
yeah.
Yeah. So I went to Princeton on Friday for a weekly show. And there's the first time I went to a race with Sherry. I brought in Sherry. It was her first time she's been to a dirt
Hmm.
track. And she had a lot of fun and she was talking about it. And so we're getting ready to go to bed. And I pull up the USMTS schedule because I'm like, I wonder if they're nearby. And I see they're down at Winneshiek. And I look at her and I go, you want to do something stupid tomorrow? And she's like, what? And I'm like, do you want to drive like 3 hours to go to a dirt race again for the second day in a row? And she's like, yeah, that sounds fun. And I was like, you're supposed to say no. You were supposed to say no. And she's like, why would I say no? That sounds like a hell of a time. And that was
Yeah,
basically like, that was the trip. At that point, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to make something out of this personality that I'm trying to
yeah.
make online.
That's
So,
awesome.
but
No,
yeah,
I love that place. It's
I've been
electric.
seeing.
It's small town feel. The bull ring deal it races so good. Like I remember when I used to race there at Be My Days, like 2012, 2013. It was probably the first couple years I went there, and I always ran really good. I've never won there yet. Really want to. But I've always just really liked that place. I don't know. It's different. It doesn't race like anything else does, which I think is unique. It's very technical that way. It's probably why I like it. Um, but Zach has done a very good job. He put a wall all the way around the place.
Yeah.
He's working on, making the bottom a little bit more racy and stuff. And now that he put a wall up, it's so much easier to see like the top of the racetrack. Like before, it would blend in with the pits so much in 3 and 4, so you couldn't really see where the top was because it's kind of scary to run up there. But now that he put a wall up there, it's so nice to run up there. So no, he's done a very good job, and like I said, he's doing what he can to give back to the racing community, and obviously, like I said, I'm gonna run those couple of shows for sure. Fair Night, if anybody's on here and listening and has never been to the Fair Night in Decorah, you should go. It is electric as can be. For I don't know what they hold there in the grandstands, 1,000 people or whatever else, but it is electric, and it's pretty cool to see all the kids obviously running around and stuff, and definitely brings you to like 90s era dirt track racing, with what you're seeing there. So we're gonna run them shows for sure. Kara and I literally sat down last night and we're trying to figure out some business expenses. I'm not sure if I want to buy more plowing equipment or if I want to, how I want to kind of expand my business next. But she mentioned to me, she's like, "Don't you think toter's pretty important here shortly?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's probably a good idea." She's
Well,
like,
that's
"If you
gonna
want to go
open
race
up.
pretty soon, you think you're gonna need one." So
We
she
cannot
reminded me the other
allow
day.
we cannot allow Kara and Sherry to hang out. I'm telling you right now, they're good women and they're two
Mhm.
dang supportive. But no,
So I'm
I
like, well,
love
I don't
you in
know.
there.
We were talking about it, and Brent Larson was getting a hold of me about his motorhome, and I kind of am tore yet. I don't know if I want to buy another motorhome. And I told her, I'm like, it all depends on what we're gonna do. If we're gonna go race across country again, I can't buy a motorhome. It ain't gonna last for what I'm doing. It'll probably last for a year or two, but at that point, I'm just gonna kind of lose money after time, anyways. So I said, if we're gonna go race, we need to go buy a toter, something that's reliable to drive up and down the road. 10 hours one way, and so she's like, "Well, I guess you have some decision making to do." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." So I don't know. My plan as of right now is we're gonna start the year with USMTS. I'm gonna I'm gonna probably try and run Texas and leave my stuff down there and fly home. That's only happening if I buy a toter, so I'm kind of in the market for one. Don't want to spend $100,000 to buy a toter, so that's the other downfall. But I don't know. I told her, what's gonna happen? I said it's gonna get like 2 weeks before I'm supposed to go in February, and I'm not gonna have anything, so I'm gonna end up buying a motorhome anyways. I guarantee you. That's how it's gonna work. But I don't know. I think we might actually go look at a toter later this week and go see what. But obviously with all the stuff happening with XR and whatever was going on there, I don't foresee there being any more 100,000 win shows. Obviously, not 3 or 4 of them a year. Maybe there will be one
Yeah.
or something, one or two or something. But I spend too much money on my equipment to not race for money. So I refuse to not go chase some money somewhere somehow. So another thing that's new since we had our last podcast, my employees are killing it. They're doing a really good job of trying to learn and stuff, and they know that this is kind of my dream too. So they're trying to help me out with my stuff, and I'm hoping that we can get it on a good enough basis to be out on the road again, and hopefully make some headway and do my stuff and go from there. But as of right now, like I said, I'm gonna try and go to Texas for sure, and then I'm sure I'll be at King of America in Lucas Oil, and then we'll just kind of see what happens from there. I don't know.
Carter, this is
I
the
could
time to
say
ask.
Yeah, you got to make it to at least Macon. You got to go to Macon.
I
If you
will be
did,
at Macon. I
okay.
guarantee you that.
That was the one, like, I'm a avid hater of the past USMTS schedules because I feel like they're at the same places. But I saw Macon, I was
Yep.
like, okay, now we're changing it up a bit. I was very happy to
Yeah.
see that.
I've been on the phone with Ryan Staley for the last, I don't know, 3 years. I'm like, why don't we go somewhere cool? Like, obviously,
Exactly.
all these tracks that we go to are cool, but like, let's go somewhere else that's cool. And Fairbury would be crazy. I keep telling
Oh,
him, like, I
yeah.
want to go to Fairbury so bad. So we have UMP tires now. So there's a good chance that if everything goes right, 15 Dub might venture over to Fairbury one night or for a special or something. That'd be kind of cool. But uh, I don't know. Uh, it's such a it's hard. Northern Lights hasn't released their series yet. I got a hold of them guys the other day, and I want to support their deal. They're doing a good job of trying to give back to the racers and not make drivers race 22 hours away from home, which is really nice.
Mhm.
Because like a couple of the Mississippi trips, I think are or the Mississippi trip, I think is like 17 or 18 hours for me. And by the time you're done with stops and stuff, I mean
It's a
that's a
full
full
day.
day of driving, and I'm just like, I don't miss that stuff. All these new kids that want to get into the USMTS stuff, it's all fun and games, but you get to that point and it wears you out. I mean, it does, and it don't matter who you are. I've talked to Rodney, I've talked to guys that have just done it a few times, but it's hard on you. I mean, it's not so bad, I suppose, if you don't really have a job or nothing tied to. But if you got a job to go to on Monday morning, you got to spend 24 hours driving home. It's tough, but
It'll wear you out. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You
I don't
so
know.
like
We're
last I was gonna ask, so last year you were sitting pretty in the USMTS stuff and it just didn't make sense to kind of keep running. Do you think, if by the time you got to miss, I know there's a lot of ifs and maybes, right? You've got to make sure the business is taken care of. We've got toter or RV or whatever
sure.
that we feel comfortable making. But do you think like this year, if you're sitting, is points gonna play a factor? You think there's a chance that points will play a factor in how you do all this?
I don't know. I mean, yes and no. So the thing is it Todd sent me the points in the end of the year payout already. It's 50,000 to win. Fifth place is 20,000, I think, and 10th place is 12, if I remember. And
Okay.
you just got to do what makes sense, and that's one thing that I really stepped back and took a peek at last year. What I was losing going on the road versus being here at work and taking care of things, and I was obviously in a different standpoint with employees last year. Actually, since the last spring at this time, I suppose I've lost 3 employees and gained 3 new ones. So the turnover there was pretty crazy, which that wears on a guy as well. But
Mhm.
it just there was a lot of headache last year. And I didn't feel like financially it was smart of me. I knew that I was probably going to get top 5 in points, but at that point last year, Todd or USMTS didn't release the end of the year payout, so nobody knew what we were racing for. It was 3 and 5,000 win races, which is, I mean, it sucks compared to the 3, 5, and 10 like it used to be.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I was kind of mad at myself last year for jumping off. You know, um, after the being in fifth, I think is where I was when I jumped. But then I kind of look back at some of the stuff that I would have missed if I would have went, and I really don't regret not being there.
Mhm.
I am a diehard racer as big as they come, but sometimes there's some family things that just mean more to a guy than racing, and I don't know. I don't think I would have won the races I would have won last year. Actually, I know I wouldn't have if I was on the road. So, um, the big win at Fountain City against Keith Foss was big to me. The first win in the BOM deal. I know I wouldn't have won that last year because I think USMTS was racing that night somewhere. Um, I know the fair race at Casson, USMTS was at Fairmont, and
Mhm.
Joe won there, and Joe's pretty hard to beat at places like that. So I doubt I would have won there. Um,
That's
Mason
a good
City
point.
for the end of the year deal. Beat Brandon Davis there. I don't remember what was going on that weekend. When you race on the road like that, you're not trying to hit all these odds and ends specials
Right.
because you're pretty much burnt out from everything else you're doing anyways. So, and then obviously the BMOD win last year that same weekend, that John Teaser Memorial. Um, I just I sit back and I think about that stuff, and a lot of these guys are like, well, don't you think a USMTS win means more? And yes and no, but at the end of the day, I've met some pretty amazing people along my journey in the USMTS deal, and then obviously away from the USMTS deal, and um, I think I probably, not last year, year before was the only year in since 2012 I did not win a feature, and that I beat myself up hard on that. Um, and I think truthfully, if I would have raced USMTS, I might have got one or two, but that would have been it, you know. And the Caston deal was huge to me. Fair race, like I said, place I've never been on. That was the first time I've ever been on that racetrack. So that was huge. And then you know, obviously anything with the BOM stuff at first was pretty crazy to do something that we put together and you know built the base off of,
Mhm.
and could go out and win against some of the best cars in the country. It was a lot. So I don't know. I don't not necessarily regret it. At the end of the year, I was kind of beating myself up a little bit because I think I know that I probably would have been top 5 in points because of where I was sitting, and you know I was running really good at the time I jumped and whatever else. But I don't know. I think about that every day. The
Looking to
cost to go
bring
do it,
back bad
and
memories again.
no, not necessarily. It's just
Yeah.
like when you're trying to figure out what you're gonna do and the route you're gonna take, because you know UMTS to me is like no thing, such a big commitment if you're you know, and it's hard with your own pocketbook, and you know there's not very many people but the ones that have done it understand, you know. And I mean, every time I go anywhere south of Kansas City, it costs me $1,000 to go there. You know, and there's a lot of weekends where you know I drove all the way. I went to Texas twice last year. One week I back and forth. I probably could have flown, but we had shit tore up. I had to come home. I had to get parts. So you know, we did 24 hours of driving twice. You know, twice a week for 2 weeks essentially.
Yeah.
And the last time we went there, we drove all the way down there and we raced on Friday and got canceled on Saturday. They're like, yeah, it's gonna rain, you know, and we drove home on Saturday, and it's like I drove all 24 hours one way for $700. And I finished fifth, past 21 cars in the feature, and I'm like, man, this is tough. I mean, and that's the thing with USMTS is it's so rewarding, but it can knock you on your ass so fast. I mean, it really can, you know, and you have to have good people in your corner. So we're trying to get everything kind of lined up. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm doing it out of my own pocketbook, and if I don't feel like it financially makes sense to do it all year long, you know, that's the thing. Everyone's like, "Well, it's 50,000 to win and 20,000 for fifth." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you have to make it that far, you know." And it's
Mhm.
the tire bill alone and the fuel bill, and you know, it's not. You spend quite a bit of money, and I mean, I'm not knocking the series by any means because Todd's done a very good job with what he's done. I just wish somebody with a lot of money would just like dump it all in Todd's lap and say, "Hey, let these guys race for 10 or 15,000 every night," you know. But
Yeah.
no, I've built so much of my racing career racing around the USMTS stuff that you know it's hard to not do it.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I am very torn. Like I said, it would be a whole different story if there was like 600,000 to win races scheduled throughout the summer and stuff, and any one of them overlapped USMTS. I feel like it would be a very, very easy no-brainer for myself to take care of what I want to take care of. But
Yep.
since I don't foresee that happening, like I said, we're gonna try and go to Texas early and then play it year by year. I don't know. Every week's gonna be a different challenge. I have a feeling, you know, and we're really busy right now with work, so you know, obviously that pays the bills, so I can go race. So you know,
Yeah.
if that's not taken care of, the racing don't mean nothing. So I don't know. It's just
I get
one day at a time.
No, I get it. I get it. And
But it will
um
be at Macon.
That's all that
we
matters.
definitely will be yeah. That one, regardless if we're still on tour, we're making the trip for that one. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm it's funny. So far you mentioned Winneshiek. I was in the Discord chatting up the guys talking about Winneshiek earlier today, trying to make plans for because they also have the SLMR race down
Yep.
there too. Um, so that's one I'm going to. I doubt I'll make it to Macon, but don't think I'm not thinking about it. I'm like USMC, like my favorite series, cars, a tiny little track that I probably won't have a reason to, go see many other times.
Yep.
It's intriguing. So, I think we all got good taste here, is what I'm saying. Is but, but
There's a lot of
um,
Illinois bull rings that would be so much fun to go to.
They should just
Yeah.
USMTS should have like a 5 week or 5 day swing and just hit up all the good ones. Just do
That would
something.
be very nice.
I mean, I know the sanctioning stuff is always sort of the boogeyman of why they can or can't
Yeah.
go some of these places, but I was really shocked to see them at Macon. I believe Macon runs UMP mods primarily,
Yeah.
if they run
Yeah.
mods.
They
So
run you. I don't know if they're sanctioned or not, but they follow their
yeah.
rules.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like I thought that was crazy to see him there. Like we're not pick I don't think we're picking up a USRA, or maybe we are. Maybe I've noticed, he likes to race at those USRA tracks. So maybe Todd's foreshadowing something about Macon. Who knows? But
Will
I
UMP guys be allowed to race at that? I feel like they'd have to let them, or else you're not
well,
gonna
I'm
I
have.
don't know.
wondering.
I think they're gonna let him. I'm sure they're probably. So American Racer puts in a lot of money to Todd's deal. I know that,
Yep.
being an American Racer dealer. So I would be willing to bet they're probably gonna tell him they just have to run racers on the rear or something to make it fair. Because the UMP tire is so much softer. So I'm gonna guess that they'll probably say they can run their UMP rules, blah blah blah, as long as they run a USRA tire or whatever. But um, stemming off that, if Todd could get his foot in the door at Marshalltown and Boone for USMTS deal, it would be unreal.
I don't know if Boone will
Marshalltown
ever
was
happen.
so much fun.
I don't know
No,
what'll
I'm sure
ever
neither one of them
happen.
probably will. But well, Marshalltown did it once.
Marshalltown, I could see happening, but I don't know about
Yeah, it
Boone.
happened
Just
once. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah.
crazy though. Marshalltown looks like so much fun. I don't know. I mean, just the shape of that place is unreal. But yeah, I don't know. I have high hopes. Like I said, I just waiting to see what Northern Lights releases for a schedule.
Heck yeah.
I see Hamilton County. Todd's working on some stuff there, and that's one of my favorite racetracks. So I want to make sure and support that because I really don't want that place to go away. I don't know. Obviously, Fountain City being in my backyard, so I'll be there
That'll make
every
it
week that I
easy.
can.
So,
Yeah.
did any idea if Cason's coming online more than just the fair race, or are we just getting a fair race there most? Do you even know if there's a fair race next year?
I haven't heard anything. I haven't talked to Ryan Wetstein lately. But
Mhm.
I'm gonna guess they're probably gonna do something again for Casson, and then yeah, I don't know. The thing is, I'm hoping Todd doesn't schedule a USMTS race over the top of it.
Yeah.
Like last year, they fought against each other, but I think if Casson would have ran and Todd didn't have a USMTS race on that Thursday, I feel like they could have really had some cars. I bet you there would have been 40, 50 modifieds. But I don't know. It was just a neat deal. So
Yeah.
I will definitely be back at Casson if I can help it.
I'm pretty sure that's the track I pass on my way to Deer Creek every year, if I'm
Yep.
remembering my route.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
And I've always wondered, like, do they ever race there? And then I got my answer. Yeah, once once a year. Yes.
Yep.
Right on. Right on. Well, I think for the most part that was kind of all the questions and sort of the topics we'd wanted to cover. So with that, Carter, I think it means it's time for
The one for the road, and we're another week of not being prepared. So mine is just going to be what I'm doing this week. I don't know how many races there are this weekend, but I think there's probably only like one in the Midwest, and I found it and I'm going to it. The Nepper 55 in Southern Illinois. The coin it is in the Southern Illinois Center. It's a Power Eye midget race. 5,000 to win, I think it is. And they have like 40 or so entries. I think last year they ended up with 55 entries, funny enough. But so if they can get around that, I'll be satisfied. Well, honestly, give me 40 and I'll be in this time of the year. You ain't getting much racing, so um
let's not be picky here.
yeah. I mean, I want
Full
at least a full
field.
field. Yeah, if I
Yeah.
show them there's 10, I might be a little upset. 'Cause that's an 8-hour drive. That's further than going
But
to
you're
St.
not
Louis.
turning around. I'll
No,
guarantee you're not
I'll
turning
I'll
around.
watch I'll watch a 10-car field. But Christopher Bell's entered. There's a few other guys. There's a lot of Badger midget guys who run by me, so I recognize them. I don't They're not known nationally, but I recognize them. And then they got the micros, which Kyle Busch and his son are racing, which is funny because the last time I saw him race was in Vegas, and now I'll be seeing him in Illinois. So, but yeah, I found a race, my last one of the year. I think it'll be 92 or 93.
on the is
On the
next year
year.
triple digits? Are we going triple digits next year? Is that the goal? Are we
Probably
making
not.
it?
I mean, it just depends on
You
rainouts.
only have 7 more to
I
hit.
know.
Yeah, I know,
If
right?
I went to the asphalt track like an hour away on Thursdays this year, I could have hit it easily. But I didn't think
Yeah.
I was. It felt like there was so many rainouts this year, like especially Luxembourg on Fridays. But I just find other places to replace it. Oh, they rained out. Let me drive 3 hours to Menominee real quick. Get a
Yeah.
race in.
Well,
Oh boy.
we're gonna make an unofficial goal for Carter to hit 100
I
races
do want to
next
hit
year.
100 at one point, just
Yeah.
once. But
Well,
it's a lot of
I
races.
mean, I have some inside information to believe next year might be the year you go for it. I don't know. I'm not letting any cats out of the bag beyond that, but there's a chance next year might be the year you might want to go for it. But I think I'll go next because I know that we didn't really prepare Alex for this, so we'll see how he fares when we get there. I'm winging it too, and you mentioned indoor racing, and so that made me recall that I saw that they started building the track at the Tulsa Expo. So we're getting into you're sort of doing the prelude to the indoor season this weekend, and then I'm actually really excited for the Tulsa Shootout. Like, I mean, it's just like I have that week off from work, and
Oh,
so
I loved it too.
I got nothing going on. I'm not gonna be mad about like 11 a.m. micro racing on flow while I pass some
That's
time.
how I am
So
with that. I'll get home from work and just turn it on. Like I don't know who any of these junior sprint kids are, but it's keeping me entertained.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. And then so I think they go 1 week for the shootout, and then they take a week off, and then they go 1 week for the Chili Bowl. So,
Yep.
um, and so yeah, indoor season's coming, and then Wild West shootout's going to be here before we know it. So, are you going to that?
No,
Yeah.
no, I've seen the payout, and it's like 2,000, 2,000, 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000. I'm like, I'm not driving 25 hours for.
What if you win them all though? Is there a
If you
bonus?
win them all, if you
No,
win them
yeah,
all,
but not enough to make it worth my time. It's winter.
yeah, I
No,
know.
if I had a late model, I would go in a heartbeat. The late model payout crazy. Very badass. It's really cool what the Flow guys have done, and put together Dustin Jarrett and Ben Shelton and their crew. That's one show I've always wanted to go to, but I feel like that show would be better for me to fly out there and drink some beer and sit in the grandstands and laugh at all the people from Arizona that are crying because it's 38 degrees, and I'm like, man, this is a heat wave. I'll be out there in
Yeah.
shorts.
Left my
But
sweatshirts at home.
yep, no, no, I am not. We've wanted to, and we talked about it, and I think next year maybe if we're sitting a little bit better on the snow deal and have some trained employees in there, I think we probably would for sure. But I talked to Mike Sorensen about a couple years ago. He's like, "Yeah, you just have to do that as a vacation." He goes, "You can't go out there wanting to go race because it's a lot and a little." So, uh,
Yeah.
but no, what I'm doing this weekend is I'm building a race car body. I actually have the first body for 2020 is here or 26. Jeez,
Ooh.
2026 is here.
Yeah, it's right
Yeah,
around the corner.
yeah.
So
I had a car dropped off the other day. So if anybody's looking for an eco mod, it's for sale. They can get a hold of me for details. But it'll leave here with a fresh new body, and working on that this weekend. And like I said, Tulsa Shootout's coming up. I'm pretty excited about that. I watch that all day here when I'm working and whatnot in our race shop. So pretty excited about that. Feels like there ain't really much of an off season anymore. I remember when I used to be a kid and off season was from October until April, and now it's like, obviously we raced last week, so it's December 20th to January 1st, but
yeah, right back at
that's
it.
okay. I don't mind
Yeah.
it at all. It's nice to slow down a little bit, but
Hell
it is life. So I'm excited. That's like I said, my plan early in the year is to start with USMTS. I'm excited about that. We'll just kind of see what happens. Gonna take it one day at a time, and I'm sure next year we're gonna probably have a successful season. We have most of our stuff more prepared than we've ever been. So I'm excited for the new BOM deal. Like I said, I have 2 new cars coming out in springtime, possibly even 3. So um, I'm excited. It's a new year. Happy
Heck yeah.
to move on from last year's fun and games and just scoot forward and focus on the future.
Hell yeah, looking forward to it. And if you don't mind, we're probably going to bug you a few times throughout the year to have you
I
jump
don't
on
care. I
for a
love this.
segment or a
I
whole,
love
right
this.
on. Yeah, we're going to make this a more regular thing for sure.
Can we get
But
like Dale
heck,
Earnhardt Jr. or something next time?
oh, I'm not that famous. You know how hard it was for me to ask you. I'm a wuss.
If
That'd be fun.
if there's ever drama at Mississippi Thunder, we'll get you and Tyrone on at the same time and
Yeah,
just
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
we'll just
No,
sit back and
no,
listen.
wait a minute. You missed this on the last podcast. This didn't work because me being the race shop owner in Winona, right across the river, I hear everybody's drama. So I'm gonna hear drama that he ain't even heard yet, and I don't. No, we don't need to deal with that. I don't
I
like
don't know.
confrontation. Anybody know me? I don't. That's not my deal. I hate confrontation. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
No, no, we had Tyrone on. Was it 2 weeks ago now, Carter? He was a
The
guest
week
picker
right
for
before the
our,
dome.
yeah, yeah, and so he we had mentioned he'd have him back on. So now Carter's just like, oh, we went from never having a guest to all of a sudden Carter's like trying to line up multi-guest episodes to create drama. Look how quick this kid changes. I'm just kidding.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, no, it'd be
Good to
fun.
that like something after we have like and it'd be fun.
Heck yeah.
It'd be fun.
Heck yeah. No, I know for sure. And I don't mean to imply you and Tyrone are crosswise.
No, I don't
quite
care.
quite believe it's different different than that. But
He could
but
he could
yeah.
tell you about all the times he's got to pull my motorhome out of the pits at Fountain City because they wouldn't put gravel down. All of a sudden, they put gravel down after they got sick of it, like the 13th time.
Oh, so
I
you're
called
the reason
Tyrone like,
for that?
yeah, definitely. I called Tyrone like an hour and a half after the race is over. I'm like, hey, I said, yeah, like I'm done drinking beer now. And I went to leave, and the motorhome is buried up to the axles, so I need the cat to get us out. He's like, I'm just getting ready to leave, and I'm, oh, good thing you're coming this way.
Yeah. Well, good
Oh,
thing you're getting ready to leave and you haven't left yet.
yep,
So,
yep.
right.
Bob was very
No,
nice. He gave me some, I don't know, like fist size gravel. It's like, you ain't gonna
okay.
get stuck anymore. I'm like, hold my beer. You just wait. And let me tell you, pulling out a motorhome in sand is not very much fun.
No, I can't
Especially not
imagine.
at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're ready to go home.
Yeah, right. Like that's the last thing I want to deal with
Eh,
is this kid. Let's get on the road.
that's
But
okay. It's
right on.
fun.
Heck yeah. Well, again, thanks for joining us. I think we're gonna uh boogie on out and we'll catch you again, I'm sure multiple times next year. But thanks again, Alex. Thanks everyone for watching. I haven't said this once yet, so might better do it now. Like and subscribe, please. Thank you. And we'll catch y'all in I believe 2 to 3 weeks. That's the other thing. We have no idea when we're
Yeah,
coming
we'll,
back.
we'll
We'll be
decide
back in a week or
what
two.
depending on what there is to talk about.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back in a
Perfect.
week or two. We'll catch you all then. But thanks for hanging out.
See ya.